Good afternoon, and welcome to Wellness from Within. This is our once a month show about wellness and decision making. My co-host and not guest, but my co-host.
Yeah, I know.
But you're also you're going to be a guest today too. You're going to play two roles. Is Miss Marie? Thank you for joining me again. Mm-hmm. This is becoming an exciting, interesting, educational Wednesday, and I'm really enjoying it.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
I'm so glad. I'm glad that you suggested this. I'm glad we made it work. So today, the first half of the show is just be you. Well, what is that all about? I can't be you. You can't be me.
Right.
We need to stop trying to be somebody else. Well, I want to be that healthy athlete. I want to be the gymnast. I want to be this. I want to have perfect this. We have to take what we've been given. We have to look within. We need to listen. This one. And hear what our body is telling us. We need to embrace our uniqueness, your uniqueness, and authenticity. Words you hear tossed around all the time, but in this situation are very, very important and integral to what Marie is teaching us. You need to know your body, your health, your specific health needs, and what your body challenges are. And I'm going to give you an example of that in a few minutes. What are the genetics? The genetics of you, the genetics of your family. Some people are adopted, so you may not be able to assume the genetics is coming from your bloodline. What is the role that these genetics play in your health? How do they affect you minute to minute, hour to hour, day by day? Because they do. What is your mindset? How do you see healing from a personal perspective, not, which I do, stand out there and go, oh, let's analyze this. Let's get on Google. Let's stand there and pretend to be an MD because you know your body so well. Well, sometimes we psych ourselves out and we just go completely down the wrong path. What are the norms of how society sees healing? Are they putting that belief, that norm on you, and are we falling for it? Or are we really taking a step back, as I mentioned first off, your uniqueness and your authenticity? How does society see healing and you becoming your own healer? What are they thinking about that? What are the pressures? That's what we're going to discuss. Well, Maria's. We're going to build a toolbox of the different ways to help yourself, how to use them, how to identify what you're doing, where you are. And the most important part of these shows are to be open, to connect with your body, with your soul, with your body within, because it all matters. To find the answers that help you identify your specific needs and what you want. So again, welcome, welcome.
Thanks.
Do you want me to give the example that when you walked in, that would start us off?
Sure.
Okay, so we were walking in, Marie and I, and she said, how are you? We had our niceties. Now, how are you? Because she knows me. And I was like, well, I've had an earache for 4 days. It's like somebody is stabbing me in the ear. I don't know what it is, but in my head, knowing me, I'm going through ear infection. Nope. Did the hydrogen peroxide, nothing happened. Did both ears, it's all connected. Didn't really help. Did the castor oil, that didn't really help. So I'm thinking, I tried to go within and I got way too analytical and way too smart for my own pants. And it's like, oh, I think it's coming from the muscle. It's going up my skull and I'm doing the roller ball and I'm doing all the little massages. And
So you were close.
I was close, but no cigar. And Marie immediately went into, did you think muscular? Did you think pec? Did you? Nope, I didn't. I hyper-focused.
But your predisposition is the thoracic outlet, all the damage to the shoulder and the pulls.
Right. And I just didn't.
And what happened when we released the pec?
So when we released the pec, so when she did her magic, So immediately, so I had my eyes closed so I could really focus on hearing what she was doing and how my body was reacting. Instantly, I had fireworks, but they were white, a little cream mixed in. And it was just like a little fireworks came up my neck, over my ear, and there was a release. Mm-hmm. There was a release, and I didn't have the knife in the ear. So thank you. I won't be doing this in the middle of the show, or which I've been doing for 4 days. So absolutely,
but it's perfect for what we're talking about, because it's just you knowing your body and what could happen. Because when it's too tight and it's not open, and if you lay quiet enough and you really start to get into your body, you're going to feel that pull, and you're going to start to massage it, and then you'll notice the minute you touch it, it's referred pain right up in there. Mm-hmm. And then you would be able to do some self-work on yourself.
Okay.
And that's the key in healing, because we all have our own individuality, but we're all in a box. And it's horrible. And I mean, I'm going to tell you a personal story for me, because having the thoracic outlet syndrome, and then I had the surgery, which I got the long thoracic nerve damage, and then I had the paralyzed muscles, and then the damage to my right side, and all my other ailments with it. As I was doing my rehab, when you're pushing your body, you go into an anaerobic state, right? You push hard and you breathe hard, and you're trying to get, and every time I would do that, my body would shut down versus heal. So all the years I've been rehabbing, I've been going back and forth, and I'd gain a little and then I'd lose a little. But the minute I would try to push myself to gain more, I would have lactic acid build up and my muscles would shut down. I worked with trainers, I worked with all kinds of people. And I saw this natural path, and I said, look, I make a gain, I drop back. My nutrition's sound, I can read my body really well, I don't understand. So she says, let's do a 23andMe and just see if something weird comes up. So we did that, and it came up that I have 2 variants, so both parents had it. And what it means is I don't make the protein to fire my muscles rapidly. So I'm a turtle versus a hare.
Okay.
Through and through. I cannot go into hare state or my muscles contract because I don't make a certain protein.
Wow.
I'm a turtle. So I'm thinking to myself, this is really weird. I never heard of this. Never heard of this before.
I've never either.
So I follow my own advice, and I start asking to see what I need to see every day. And the whole scenario plays out. Like, I couldn't have made it up myself. I Google, I find some studies. 30% of all Eastern Europeans are like that. 30%.
Really?
Right?
And that came from 23andMe, the DNA test kit.
Right. So it could be the reasons for chronic pain, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, because people think they have to go to the gym and work so hard. But some people can't. They legitimately can't. So now I'm thinking, this is really weird.
Yeah.
There's 30%, right? So I'm driving to work one day, and I'm listening to Dr. Radio, and they had a geneticist on there, and it was the sports orthopedic hour. So I said, I'm going to call in and ask some questions. They never heard of it. And they tell me, don't run. You're going to blow out your quads. Don't sprint. You can run, but don't sprint. You're an aerobic athlete versus an anaerobic. But yeah, and the geneticist says, well, that's not in my genetic studies, so we can't talk about it. And they literally cut me off. And I said to them, well, shouldn't we be testing children? And they said, no, because then they'd pick children and stack the athletics. So we're not even discussing this anywhere.
Head in the sand.
Right. So now I'm like overwhelmed going, that's weird. Maybe this is not even real. This is not even real. So I keep asking to see what I need to see. I lose my primary care. I find a new primary care. I walk into his office and I say, I'm sorry, I'm going to be one of those pain in the butt people because I already have long thoracic nerve damage. He goes, oh God. He goes, that's just an impossible feat. I'll support you any way that you can. And I said, I don't have any fast twitch. I'm the turtle versus the hare. And he goes, oh, you're one of those. Did you know 30% of all Eastern Europeans are like that? And I said, how do you know that? He goes, I did my fellowship on it. So this is a real thing. This is a real thing, wow. But we're not using it in society. So I go through a couple trainers, and again, they tell me I'm lying. It's not real. So they're still pushing me to that level.
That is absolutely mind-blowing. My head
This is how the system works, though.
A million miles an
because there's so many things out there that are unknown, and medicine is so focused in pockets that these things that are affecting so many people, we're talking 30% of all Eastern Europeans.
Is that the box you're talking about? That we're in that box?
Yeah, yeah. Because we don't see the importance of it, but the importance of it is all these people who can't fix their chronic pain because they're trying to do what I did. Mm-hmm. So all I did was put a watch on, a Fitbit, and I keep myself in the aerobic zone. And if I never go in the anaerobic zone, I'm the strongest I've been in my life. I'm lifting more weights. My cardio is off the hook. My lungs are better. My muscles are stretching for the first time because they're not all full of lactic acid. It's incredible. Wow. Yeah.
So when you say that and you go with your Fitbit, that you are watching the
Just my
O2
heart rate.
levels or the heart rate?
My heart
that you
rate.
don't want to go, okay.
The rule of thumb in fitness is if you want to lose weight, you exercise for 40 minutes or more in an aerobic zone. Mm-hmm. And that helps you burn fat because when you're utilizing oxygen, you can burn the fat.
Correct.
When you're pushing harder than that and you can't hold a conversation with somebody, you're not utilizing oxygen. So you're conditioning your body, but you're not burning fat.
Gotcha.
So I see a lot of 50-somethings now with arrhythmias and things like that. I would bet that they have more slow twitch than fast twitch, but they're doing the 80% all the time because they think they have to be fit.
And not gaining. Not gaining as in
they're short-circuiting their electrical
right.
system where the guy next to them can do it with no issues whatsoever. Wow. So these are real things that happen. And I try to get people to understand, be you. Be you.
Just
learn about you and
yeah.
figure it out. I mean, I had one person who had a hip replacement, a fusion in his back. He had abdominal surgery on the right. And the way he wanted to work out, his body wouldn't allow him. He went to every person I knew, professional-wise, from here to California, and they all said they were going to fix it and he was going to be fine. His body just can't do it. And as long as they're telling him he can, he's spending all this time, all this frustration because he wants to be that person that can do that thing he can't do. Do what you can do, and it's really cool because then you can always get better at it.
Correct.
But when you focus so hard on what you can't do,
it's self-defeating.
But you don't even know.
Because you're so focused on,
I have to do what the other people.
Yep.
I go to Spin Fit with my husband on Wednesday nights. And at the end of the fit class, I've had this happen 3 times. Women have walked up to me and said, I noticed that you're modifying things. I go, I have to. And they said, I really need to because I hurt, but I don't know what I should do. Mm-hmm. I said, be you. Well, is the teacher going to be mad? I said, walk up to the teacher in the front of the class and say, look, I have some issues. Can you show me modifications through the class?
Correct.
Or
you talk about the modifications during the class.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of them do not.
I know they don't.
Some do, some don't.
They go.
But people don't go to the class now because it's too hard versus knowing that they can modify, or they feel like somebody's staring at them because they're not
modifying,
doing what
right.
everybody else is doing.
So there again, the guilt game, you can only do it one way. You're in the box. It's my way or the highway.
I see it all the time. And for people to walk up to me after class and say, you're so brave to do that in class, I'm like, no, I would be hurting
myself.
Exactly. But they're so set on they have to be that bigger picture, what everybody else is doing. And we do it with diets. One friend starts a diet, everybody starts the diet.
And it's not one size fits all.
If you're somebody with osteoporosis, you don't want to be doing the diet your friend's doing. I can tell you right now. Mm-hmm. You want to know who you are and what your body can tolerate and what's going to happen when you deprive yourself of calories. Are you going to lose bone and muscle? Mm-hmm. That's a big deal.
That's huge.
That's a big deal. I have another woman, she had an accident, her hips are off. She has one leg shortage of 2 inches versus the other. She has to, everywhere she goes, they try to make her do regular exercises. She can't do them.
No, plus you're messing up the rest of your body. I mean, if you're doing everything on this kind of an angle, you're going to be overstressing.
But what does she do? Who's going to teach her?
She follows what they say and ignores what her body's telling her.
Because now she doesn't know how to exercise herself.
Yeah.
So she has to learn to know what she can tolerate, what she can't tolerate, start building a toolbox, start making a list. My body liked this, my body didn't like that. Okay, I'm going to do more of this one, less of this one. You have to, because we're all unique individuals, but we're all, I was at the gym a few weeks ago and one of the trainers has a pacemaker because she was pushing too hard all the time. And she's still trying and it's just not doing what she wants to do. And I go, well, why don't you try just being you? And she just looked at me, I go, just do what you can do and you're going to get stronger doing it. Mm-hmm. I go, you don't have to push to 80% all the time. When I went to school for exercise phys, it was something you did in intervals. You didn't do an all out 80% for a whole class. This is craziness that we're doing. Mm-hmm. Our electrical systems can't handle that.
Correct.
It's only supposed to be short bursts.
Right, interval training.
Yeah, not anymore. It
No.
is just the norm. It's the norm. The norm is all these people that want to be cut. They want to be 6%, 10%, 12% body fat. A woman going that low is screwing her hormones like you wouldn't believe. I mean, bodybuilders don't even want to do it when they're not competing because it racks their immune system.
Correct.
It screws with their hormones. People are living in that state all the time, and there's all these diets to show you how. Not for 6 weeks, not for 3 weeks, for indefinite times. Because they feel like they're not whole unless they're that, according to what this says.
Wow.
These are real things that are happening all the time.
And it's very average things that are happening that we're seeing every single day, in every instance. And as you're talking through these, I'm saying, oh my goodness, you're absolutely right. And when I taught ballet, I knew that this girl could do 3 pirouettes and this one could do 2, and this child, could do 1, but they all wanted to do 17. And I'm like, A, you got to learn how to do it. B, you may not be a turner. You may be, Miss Flexible. You may be, able to do a full split, but this one may not be able to. And you don't force it, but yet you see that over and over and over again. Wow.
And when you're not you and you don't know your body, you start going through the system. I've seen many, many times people go for back pain when all along it's their hips. But if you go for back pain, they're going to take an x-ray of your back. Chances are if your hips are bad, your back's bad. Mm-hmm. Now you get the diagnosis of arthritis in your back. Nobody looks at your hips. Or it's vice versa.
Right. So they limit. They tunnel vision.
But if you
down
are laying on the
pathway.
floor stretching, it's your hips and your back because you don't know what full range of motion of your hips are until you've tried to figure out what full range of motion of your hips
Correct.
are. Right.
And the hips are very important.
Right. You should know if both your ankles rotate in and out. You should know if you can step on your toes or not. Most people have no idea which side of their body's doing what.
That sounds like a show to me. That's a show and tell.
That's part of the next show.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I'm thinking we might need to do a show and tell. I'm very intrigued by that.
Genetics are a big part of just you being you too, because there's a lot of, like mine's a genetic thing. But there's also predisposition to diabetes, heart disease, hip disorders, flat feet, all kinds of things that you can get genetically. So you want to offset those before you get into a workout program to understand what you're trying to do.
Before you injure yourself.
Versus just jumping into a blanket program that's not going to serve you as well. That you really want to get to know yourself. I mean, again, go back to that meditation. I even have a meditation on there about getting to know yourself better and working with your body within and starting to feel your own energy on my website. That one's in my shop. But the more you can get to know yourself and start arguing with yourself and start learning and hearing that voice in your head, these things are going to come natural. Like I said, when I was on my track with the fast twitch muscle thing, I just kept asking to see what I needed to see every day. And I would get those little inklings that I need to go in this direction versus that direction. And then I end up in the primary care's office who studied it. So I got all the information I needed and we brainstormed it together. And now I know how to handle it for all kinds of people, not just myself.
That's
the unfortunate
amazing.
part is I probably have a dozen clients that I know are in that same category that refuse to do the genetics because they don't believe that that could be them. Because they don't want to know.
Right. Avoidance.
Yeah.
Wow.
But to me, I would want to know. Because then I had a better toolbox. Because what people don't understand, if you don't start looking in the mirror when you're 40 and it's hard to get off the chair, people are living to be 90.
Right. So what is the quality of your life going to be for the next 50 years?
Right. I'm getting stronger every day as I age. I have clients that are killing it. I mean, we were laughing the other day with one the other day, and he said, all my friends are falling apart. And he says, I'm just getting stronger every day. I said, because you're listening and you're working toward that goal.
Yep.
He goes, they're all working out so hard. He says, I hardly work out and I'm the strongest I've ever been in my life. And I go, because you're more productive in your workouts because you're doing what your body wants versus trying so hard to do what you think you should do.
Right. There was a saying, I'm trying to think, work smart, not harder.
Yes, smarter, not harder.
And people use that for, we did it on the ambulance a lot and in different jobs like that. And it's actually very true, because know yourself, know your limitations. And that doesn't mean, oh, I'm a princess, I can't do that, I can't sweat. It means, don't don't push yourself. If your body really, really hurts, there's nothing wrong with stepping back and going, is that, I did too much, so I need to back it off a bit? Or is that my body screaming, don't do that? And that's what people aren't listening to.
Right. Right.
Wow.
So like I said, the more you can go inward and connect to your body within, the more you'll get those messages, and the more you'll learn there's more in every situation. Everything is more.
Well, everything is an educational moment.
Everything. Yes.
And it's an educational moment that you want to file in your head because it's about you. As you said, what is your uniqueness? What is your authenticity? You want to make, you may even make a little card and write in there, I cannot run on the treadmill, or I can't ride bikes, like a stationary bike. It is absolutely the most horrendous,
and that's
horrible.
Okay.
And I went, okay.
That's okay.
I acknowledged that. So there's other things I like that other people don't like, but it's more than liking and disliking.
I have a 90-year-old woman who broke her hip a couple years ago, and it stopped her from walking her 5 miles, 4 miles a day, whatever she was walking. Goodness. So she had to be her. Now she does yoga class, and she walks shorter spurts. And she's thrilled because she can do something, but she figured it out. How many 9-year-olds are going to go out and start a new exercise
Not
routine?
that many.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy because she wanted to figure out what she could do and how she could do it. And the unfortunate part for her is it's only available once a week, where it used to be available twice a week, because it's not a priority in most places to do a chair type yoga and a senior citizen yoga.
Well, that stinks.
Yeah, it's just the way it is.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, if we get more people listening and to themselves and reaching out and figuring out, they might figure out they need that class as well. And
like I said, the best way to start is just to sit quiet, ask to see what you need to see, and really mean it. Like I said, I have that meditation, or use the other meditation on my site. You can read my book. It's just a way of seeing more in everything, versus just being so tunneled that we jump on the sheep wagon of what the marketing companies are telling us, what the soda companies are telling us, what the exercise industry is telling us. There's so much more, and we have to individualize ourselves, because we cannot stay in a basket with everyone else.
no, we can't. And we need to not be afraid to jump out of that basket. Just make sure the basket's on the ground. And you might want to step out of it, This has just really been very, very educational and very interesting to me, because it's something I've kind of done my whole life with other people. I don't know if I've done it with myself. I probably have and didn't know it. But to have you say it out loud, of decisions I made in training girls in classical ballet and blah, blah, blah. Wow. I say.
And in the next half, we're going to get into back pain, and I'm going to show you how to see it from all different perspectives, how to pick it apart and try to be unique to you. I can't give specific exercises because I don't see the individual and see where their weaknesses are, but I can give you a way that you can look at your body, try to figure those things out, and go do your own homework.
I like it. And don't be afraid to reach out to different people, as you did, until you find that right person. Until you find the right circumstance.
People think they have to find the right person right out of the gate, but you're going to find somebody that's going to lead you to the next spot, because sometimes that person's not in your lap yet. But you're going to find the trail of breadcrumbs that's going to get you there, and you're going to learn each time you do. Like, when I started with the Dr. Radio part, I was flabbergasted that the big guys in the country didn't know, but the little guy in the office in Manchester knew. How is that even possible?
Money, politics,
it's just
who you know.
No, it all goes back to the 60s in Russia when they were testing their athletes, and now there's this big thing about we don't test athletes because it's going to stack the sports. That's all it is. It's politics.
Wow.
Politics.
Yeah. There we go again. The dirty word.
Well, because somebody did something wrong, so we're staying away from that arena now. Where it would be the answer for so many people.
I was going to say, but it's punishing so many people, keeping some people off a path that they perhaps should be pursuing.
The Diabetic Association does that too. They allow so many calories coming from simple carbs because The masses won't follow the diet, but the ones that want to follow the diet are getting the wrong information. It's how it works. So if you're not you're not going to get the right information. You're just going to get you've got to fine tune everything that you get so you can have your own toolbox.
I like it. Well, thank you, Miss Marie. This has been an absolutely interesting and kind of mind-blowing half hour, but I hope everybody heard this. I'll go over the 5 little steps here. Embrace your uniqueness and authenticity. Know your body, your health, and your specific health needs, and your body challenges, and acknowledge them. Write them down and don't deviate. Maybe have some genetic testing, 23andMe, and the role that they play in your health, because that may be, that little stumbling block in front of you. Your mindset of how you see healing from a personal perspective. Build a toolbox of ways to help yourself and how to use them. And always be opening to connecting with your body within to find the answers that you need, not what you're being told. And your website once again?
Marie Notig, MareKnoetig.com. And my book is The Missing Piece to Health and Aging Gracefully.
Awesome.
And the missing piece is you. Just
There
so
you
know,
go.
I'm going to give you the whole, it's you.
You are the missing piece. All right. Well, thank you. And I hope you join us next time for the back pain.